All right, this live is going to be fun. It's in the middle of a thunderstorm here in Nashville. In the South, they get a lot of these in the summer. It goes from like 95 degrees or even 99, 100 around today to 80 because the thunderstorm just lets all that heat out of the air. But they're frequent at this time of the year, and there's a big one right now, so I don't really want to go outside. I'd rather talk about Talanoa Hufanga entering year 3. Pardon the interruption if there is loud thunder. There was just a big one that happened right before I came on air. Anyway, let's talk Talanoa Hufanga because this is one of the more interesting potential twists in the 49ers cap building process. Hufanga is about to enter year 3. He was an all-pro last season in 2022. 2021, Hufanga was the 49ers' third safety, got a lot of playing time, made some plays for the football team, but he really became a star in 2022 as a full-time starter following the departure of Jaquiski Tart. That means that Hufanga is eligible for a new contract following 2023. You might say that it's too early to discuss this, but if somebody has already earned all-pro status, I don't think it's too early to talk about it. So where does Talanoa Hufanga have to take his game in 2023 to give the 49ers a potential headache once it comes to the offseason and time to pay players? Well, Hufanga's biggest weakness entering the NFL was his ability to finish tackles. And that weakness really reared its ugly head throughout the first 8 games of 2022. Remember, this guy is a total missile. He really impressed everybody in that week 1 game against the Bears. He might have been the best player on the football field, especially for the 49ers in that game. I mean, he was just flying in from the secondary to make plays at or behind the line of scrimmage. But he started to miss some tackles over the first 8 games of the season. 13 missed tackles, in fact, over the first 8 games of the season. That was a really high rate. It was one of the worst rates in the NFL, 1.6 missed tackles per game. So there was this glaring hole in Hufanga's repertoire that he had to fix. And a lot of people said, oh, this guy is good in run support, but he's bad in coverage. That wasn't really an accurate characterization of Hufanga's game. He actually had really good instincts in coverage, notched several interceptions last year, right place, right time kind of player. The issue was tackling for Hufanga. Well, so that rate of 1.6 missed tackles per game over those first 8 games was not good. Look what Hufanga did over the final 12 games, down to 0.4 missed tackles per game. Only 5 missed tackles over the final 12 games after 13 missed tackles over the first 8. So from 1.6 missed tackles per game to 0.4, that's 4x better over the final 12, and that included the playoffs. So something clicked for Talanoa Hufanga. I just ran these numbers before I went on air. I tweeted them. I can't wait to ask Talanoa once training camp starts and everybody's back from their summer vacations what clicked, because it was right between the first Rams game, or actually the second Rams game. Yeah, the second Rams game and the first Chargers game. So the games against the 2 LA teams where Hufanga stopped missing tackles. Something clicked. He figured it out, and the rest was history. He went on to earn all-pro honors last year. So my question is, what if this persists? What if Talanoa Hufanga, who's on a cap hit of only about $1 million this year, what if he delivers another all-pro season in 2023? That would be 2 consecutive all-pro seasons, 22 and 23, and Hufanga would be eligible for a new contract. Nobody is talking about this right now, this potential eligibility. Everybody's talking about Nick Bosa first. That's this year. But Brandon Ayuk potentially up for a new deal. He is up for a new deal. He potentially will get one from the 49ers next offseason. So say that the 49ers have to pay and decide to pay Brandon Ayuk in the 2024 offseason, and say that Talanoa Hufanga is coming off of his second straight all-pro season. What do they do then? There are safeties that are making up to $19 million per year. That's Derwin James. I don't think that Talanoa Hufanga would command that much money, but he would be close if he had 2 straight all-pros under his belt and he continues intercepting passes at the rate that he's intercepting them. So the 49ers would have to be ready to pay Talanoa Hufanga. And maybe they could convince him to wait 1 more year. That's obviously something that's happened with Brandon Ayuk this season. Although with Ayuk, they had some extra team control because he was a first round pick back in that 2020 season. Hufanga was a fifth rounder in 2021. And that's all great, the fact that he was a fifth rounder in 2021 for the 49ers and their draft capital and the value that they're getting on the rookie deal. But you don't have that extra year of team control. You don't have that fifth year option on a fifth round pick. So there are times when you're going to have to pay him early. And if Hufanga is going to demand that payment early after a second all pro season, assuming that happens, it's something that the 49ers might have to look into. Anyway, a financial crunch is coming for this football team, and how the 49ers manage it is going to be mighty interesting. And they're going to have to manage more of it if Hufanga continues delivering this well when it comes to missed tackles. If he continues to cut that missed tackle rate, we know he has the instincts to do a whole lot else correctly on the football field. Looking at the 49ers financial situation, if it does come down to paying Hufanga, they have $271.5 million in 2024 liabilities already. That's going to be way over what the cap will be. We won't find out until January at the soonest what the cap will be. It's based on NFL revenues. But assuming the cap is, what was it this year? It was in the lower 200 millions, right? Assuming it climbs 10 million, even 20 million, it's going to be somewhere in, maybe near 240 million at the highest next season. So at $271 million in liabilities, the 49ers are going to have to trim some fat. They're going to have to move some money around. At a certain point, the sink runs too full and you have to start cutting players. I think the 49ers are still built for sustainable success if they manage their cards right. It's going to involve somebody like Jair Brown, Talanoa Hufanga's counterpart at safety, delivering this year on his rookie deal so he can replace somebody like Deshaun Gibson. It's going to involve structuring Nick Bosa's contract appropriately. And it's going to involve, if you pay Brandon Ayuk, structuring his deal appropriately. And then if Talanoa Hufanga enters the fold, well, how will the 49ers address his $15 million plus per year contract? It's tricky business keeping a really good roster together, but this is one of those looming challenges that the 49ers might have. At the end of the day, having to pay quality players is a problem that all teams want to have. You want your A-list core to grow. Talanoa Hufanga wants to make sure that 2023 solidifies his presence as part of that 49ers A-list core. And the key will be continue minimizing those missed tackles, but keep on playing with your hair on fire, because Hufanga is one instinctive football player that has made the 49ers a whole lot better on the back end. They led the league in interceptions last year, came a long way from 2018 when the team set an NFL low with only a record low with only 2 picks that whole season. From that to 30 interceptions in the NFL lead in 2022. If the 49ers keep that up moving forward, Talanoa Hufanga will have been a big part of it. Everybody take care.